Welcome to the Forward Podcast. I've met many people over the years who have failed and given up. The point of this podcast is to get people to understand that failure is part of the process. Welcome back to the Forward Podcast. I keep getting asked a question by lots of people: what would you do differently if you were to start your business again, or you were just starting out in business? What are the things that you do differently from today, from with everything you know now, 16 years on? What would you do differently? So the first one is the biggest one. Is my highest value now is my highest value is always learning, always improving. I am not the finished article. I never will be the finished article, and I always need to improve myself. So the first one is I would just always have a part of my week, a part of my day where I'm learning something. I didn't do it for 10 years. I buried my head and I thought I could either wing it, work hard, or just be able to just work myself out of any situation. So my biggest bit of advice would be is work on yourself like you work on your business. Work on yourself like you would at the gym on your body. Work on yourself like you would a painting. Work on yourself like you'd work on anything that you're doing, your hobbies, building your house, whatever it is. Make sure you spend a good proportion of your time working on your self-development. And it's key. Like, the more that you learn, the more that you'll earn. And I didn't know that for such a long time. I only started self-development 5 or 6 years ago. As you all know, I failed all my GCSEs. I got the most likely to go to jail award, but I then had a very fixed mindset. So the number one thing I'd do again is start learning and work on myself. As hard as I work on my business. The second thing is working on my mindset. Your mindset is so important. The story you tell yourself is so important. For many, many years when I was a child, I was the black sheep of the family. I got told by teachers that, I was never going to make it. And I told myself that story for quite a while after I left school. And what I now realise is our minds are so powerful. They're so powerful. They're actually, our brains and our minds are more powerful than I think a lot of people really realise. How much we can achieve as human beings is so vast, but we're so limited by the different things we're told through the media, through our people around us, family, whatever it is. We put these limitations, and not only other people, but ourselves, we limit ourselves. And the more you can work on your mindset and realise that life is limitless is so important. Like 6 months ago, I had a stroke. After I had the stroke, I was told I had heart block and my heart stops for 1 second to 2 seconds every day. And as soon as I heard that information from the doctor, I instantly had a bit of health anxiety. And then I had, a month later, a loop recorder fitted underneath my skin, and that loop recorder is now attached to an app. That app sends data to the doctor. As soon as that went in, it doesn't fix me. It's not changed the symptoms that I have. My whole mindset changed, and I then didn't feel anxious anymore. And it made me realise that nothing's changed. It's just what the story I'm now telling myself in my brain, because I've got this thing implanted in me. And it's exactly the same with anything in life. The story we tell ourselves is so important. I've talked around it before. I get trolled a lot. Over the weekend, I had lots of different trolling going on, and people saying I waffle on about this and I'm just full of generic bullshit. And then I was thinking this morning or yesterday when we were driving home from Brighton, I was thinking, well, maybe they're right. And I started telling myself this story, and I went, no, that, Henry. I'm not going to let myself understand this story. Like, why do I even care about what people think about? Like, in 3 or 4 generations, no one's going to remember who I am. They're not going to remember who I am. It doesn't really matter what anybody thinks about me. So make sure you tell yourself the right story. Work on your mindset. That's number 2. The third thing is I would make sure that I am surrounded by the right group of people. I took a lot of bad advice from other business owners who, quite frankly, didn't care about my future 16 years ago. If I had it all again, I would make sure that I was part of a peer group of people, a mastermind of people who all supported each other and learn from other people's mistakes, the good and the bad. Make sure you have a good mentor. Like, you are, as Jim Rohn says, you are the sum of the 5 people you spend most time with. The more that you can spend time with like-minded people, and now I'm not expecting you to go and dump friends and family and things like that, because they're still very important, but in business terms, the more that you can spend your time with like-minded people, I can guarantee you will be able to hit your goals quicker. Business is never going to be easy. it's always going to be challenging. Your reward for solving one problem is another problem. But the way you become across those problems quicker is by being around a peer group of people that can help and support you. The fourth thing is ensuring that you set yourself some goals and that you find somebody to hold you accountable to them, whether that's your mastermind, whether that's your mentor. But setting yourself goals is so important, because otherwise we just coast. We don't do the important things. We do the easier things. We tick off our list because it's good for our endorphins to get through the easier things, but we keep putting off the most challenging things. So having someone that can hold you to account, making sure that you set yourself goals, is going to have such an importance to the success in your business. They're the four things that I would do. Again, make sure you're always learning. Make sure you work on your mindset. Make sure that you're part of a mastermind or have a really good mentor that's walked the path that you've walked before. And make sure you set goals to someone that has held you to account. If I was to start again, that's what I do. And it's what I do now on a daily and weekly basis, is all four of those, because it's so important to the progress. It's so important to my mindset. And it's so important to me achieving my large goals that I've got. I hope that helps. Thanks for listening. Take care. Thank you for listening to the podcast today. I'm on a mission to get people to understand that failure is part of the process. So please share this far and wide, like and subscribe.